perform a hardness test, you'll need a fingernail, you'll need a coin, and a piece of glass. And then what you'll do is the first step is to try to scratch the rock with your fingernail. So this is a piece of talc, and if I scratch it with my fingernail, you can see that little flakes come off like that. So this means that since I can scratch it with my fingernail, the hardness is going to be less than 2.5. Now if I take something that's slightly harder and I try to scratch it with my fingernail, this is a piece of halite. I can see that I cannot scratch this with my fingernail. So that means I'll move on to the next step of the hardness test, which is to take this penny and then try to scratch it with a penny. So if I do this, you can see that it actually makes a mark right there with the penny. So this is harder than a fingernail, but less than the penny can scratch it. So the hardness is between 2.5 and 3.5. So now, let's say we have something harder than that. Our fingernail can't scratch it, and this penny can't scratch it either. So that means we'll have to move on to another step. And this one, you'll have to take this glass, and instead of taking the glass and scratching this, you have to try to scratch the glass with the rock. So this piece of olivine right here cannot scratch this glass. So because it cannot scratch the glass, that means the glass is harder than the rock, and its hardness is between 3.5 and 5.5. So now let's go take a rock even harder than that. This is a piece of pyrite. I cannot scratch it with my fingernail, and if I try to scratch it with a penny, I also can't do that. So I move on to the piece of glass, and as I scratch the piece of glass, I see that it actually is making a mark in the glass right there. If I wipe it off, the glass is still scratched. So that means that this rock is harder than the piece of glass, and then the mineral's hardness is above 5.5. So that is how you perform a hardness test.